Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today's video is about COVID relief bill latest update. The House passed the president's $1.9 trillion package early Saturday morning with 0 Republicans voting in favor. Now, all eyes are on the Senate. Now let's go see what Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell think about the third relief bill.
We'll be ready to assist however we can. Now, another matter, at about 2 o'clock on Saturday morning, House Democrats rammed through the bonanza of partisan spending they're calling a pandemic rescue package. Only Democrats voted for it. Both Republicans and Democrats voted against it. Last year, under a Republican Senate and a Republican administration, Congress passed 5 historic coronavirus relief bills, 5 of them. Not one of the 5 bills got fewer than 90 votes in the Senate, or less than about 80% over in the House. But alas, this time, Democrats have chosen to go a completely partisan route. Even famous liberal economists and liberal editorial boards are saying their half-baked plan is poorly targeted to what families need. So we've gone from passing COVID relief with 80% and 90% bipartisan supermajorities last year to the Speaker of the House ramming this through with just 50.7% of the House on Friday night. The bill contains all kinds of liberal spending on pet projects with no relationship whatsoever to pandemic relief. Now remember, we're almost to the 1-year anniversary of a leading House Democrat admitting they see this whole crisis as, quote, a tremendous opportunity to restructure things to fit our vision, end quote. So, sorry to all the American families who've just been hoping to get their jobs back, their schools back, and their lives back. Democrats are more interested in some restructuring. That's why only 1%, Madam President, 1% of this huge package goes directly to vaccinations. 1% for vaccinations. That's why it proposes another 12-digit sum of federal funding for K through 12 schools, even though science tells us schools can be made safe right now. About 95% of that funding won't even go out this fiscal year. 95% of the school funding in this bill won't go out this year. And this is an emergency package. That's why they're pushing economic policies that would drag down our recovery. Like the House votes for a one-size-fits-all minimum wage policy that would kill 1.4 million jobs, or continue to pay laid-off workers a premium to stay home that would extend well into a recovery where job growth and rehiring will be pivotal. Whenever their long-term liberal dreams come into conflict with what Americans actually need right now, Democrats decided their ideology should win out. Well, Madam President, it didn't have to be this way. We could have built more practical policies to help the American people move forward. Some Senate Republicans literally went down to the White House to propose that both sides work together like we did 5 times last year. The administration declined. So this is where we are, a bad process, a bad bill, and a missed opportunity to do right by.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
And if we go back to December 2020, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell blocked an attempt by Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer to unanimously approve a House-passed bill to increase direct payments in the coronavirus relief package to $2,000 from $600. Now let's watch 2 more Republican senators and hear their opinion about the third COVID relief bill.
Listen to South Dakota Senator John Thune. This was his take on the minimum wage over the weekend.
The minimum wage is something that is particularly troubling and harmful at a time when you're trying to get people back to work. I worked for less than the minimum wage. I worked for the minimum wage. I started bussing tables at $1 an hour. I went up to $2.25 when they moved me up in the place, and then I finally made it to cook, which was big time. That was $6 an hour. What you're essentially telling those businesses in South Dakota that I just mentioned, that you're going to increase the amount of money that they have to pay their workers by over 50%. 50% increase.
Shut up and move on.
You got to love the Tim Scott standing there to provide the patina of diversity over that round of words, that basket full of words. What do you make of John Thune's argument? Because his $6 an hour would be $20 an hour now if you account for inflation. But your thoughts?
Well, he's just so out of touch with where regular people are and struggling at the bottom end of the wage scale. And, you know, there's 27 million people, Joy, that would be lifted up lifted up in terms of their wages, 1.3 million that would be lifted out of poverty. 30% of Black workers would get a raise. 26% of Latinx workers would get a raise. So this is an issue that the senator is fondly remembering sometime when it was just young people in their first job working a minimum wage. That is not the case today. Adults with families stay in minimum wage jobs for years at a time. And so it is just a myth that, number one, it's not going to lift a lot of people up out of poverty, that it's not deeply essential after 12 years of not raising the wage. And number two, Joy, this is a policy that is popular with Democrats, Republicans, and independents. Just let's not forget that Florida went for Donald Trump in the last election and voted a $15 minimum wage through with a supermajority of voters.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to inform Democrats the radical path you're taking will cause you to lose in 2022. The American people are shocked at what you're doing and running through this House of Representatives. Passing a bill of $1.9 trillion that spends less than 9% on COVID relief is shameful. Passing the Unequality Act, which destroys women's rights, religious freedoms, puts men in our little girls' bathrooms, locker rooms, and sports teams, is unforgivable. Trying to pass what I call the Democrats' hate police bill, H.R. 1280, that puts police on Biden's hit list and allows police to be targets, also gets rid of qualified immunity, opening them up to be sued every time a criminal is offended and has their feelings hurt because they got arrested, is reckless and dangerous for our police. And because of H.R. 1, which is a federalization of our elections, I also today, Mr. Speaker, make a motion to adjourn so Democrats can think a little bit harder.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Clearly the Republican doesn't have intention to pass the third COVID relief bill. While millions of Americans will start running out of pandemic unemployment benefits on March 14th. Anyway, we can't predict exactly the final result. But let's hope that the stimulus package relief gonna pass. Because millions of Americans' peoples need ignore than any time before. Thank you guys for watching. See you next video. Subscribe, like, and leave a comment.